Bonjour tout le monde. Today we're talking about les adjectifs or adjectives. Now, in French, adjectives are words that are used to describe nouns, just like as in English. Examples of these could be green, big, stupid, crazy, ridiculous. And in French, these adjectives will actually follow some special rules that we don't have in English. The first is that adjectives must agree with the gender and the number of the noun that they are describing. We remember that we have a gender and a number for every single noun in French. And that's different from English. But our adjective actually has to relate and match that same gender and number. And the second rule is the placement. Adjectives in French are placed after the noun, which is the opposite of English. And we'll talk about that in another video. So while we're focusing on gender, you have to realize that all French adjectives have a gender, just like all French nouns have a gender. And they can have either a masculine or a feminine gender. You'll see here that I have a masculine noun, un chat, you can see that from the article, and a feminine noun, une chatte. If I'm going to use an adjective to describe un chat, I need to make sure that that adjective is masculine, because un chat is masculine. And it's going to be based, the gender of your adjective is based on the gender of your noun. So if I'm describing une chatte, a feminine cat, then I need to make sure that my adjective is feminine. Now, like I said, there are two different genders. The masculine of any adjective is actually what you're going to find in the dictionary. So if you look up the word tall or big in the dictionary in French, you will find the word grand, just like that. That is your masculine singular form, grand. Okay? To get your feminine form, so if we're talking about cat still, and I have une chatte, and I want to say it's a great cat, I will take my masculine form, and I'm going to add an E. So then I will get une chatte grande with the E added to the masculine form. Now, remember, if the adjective already ends in an E, like we have jaune, J-A-U-N-E for yellow, and you want to make it feminine, it already ends in an E, so you don't need to add anything extra. So that means for those adjectives, the masculine and the feminine singular forms are the same. Then you have your number. Like I said, you're going to generally find the masculine singular form of an adjective in the dictionary, okay? And you need to make sure that your adjective agrees with the gender and the number of the noun, okay? You either have a singular noun or a plural noun, okay? If we have a man, we have un homme, that's singular. Des hommes, some men, are plural. And the adjectives that describe these must agree with the number. Okay, your singular form, like I said, you're going to find that in the dictionary. You'll find the singular masculine form in the dictionary. Okay, and we have grand, that's our singular masculine form. Remember, if we want it to be feminine, we take our singular masculine and add an E to get our singular feminine, grande. And then you can have plural. So we can have masculine plural or feminine plural. And to make your adjective plural, you'll take your singular form. So if it's masculine, you take grand like that. And you'll just add an S to get grand with an S. If we have a feminine noun or multiple feminine nouns, then we would have grande, the singular feminine form, add an S, and we get grande with an S. Now, if your adjective already ends in an S, perhaps like gris, G-R-I-S, to make it plural, you leave it the same, okay? You do not add an extra S. Here's our first example. We have the adjective vert, which means green. If you look that up in the dictionary, this is what you'll get, which is the masculine singular form. So if we're talking about a green notebook, un cahier vert, V-E-R-T. Many green notebooks, des cahiers verts, we took our masculine singular, added an S to make it plural. And if we have une porte, which is feminine, a door, and we want a green door, une porte verte. We took the masculine singular, vert, and added an E for verte. If we have multiple green doors, we have des portes vertes. Okay, we had our feminine singular and added an S to make it feminine plural. Here's example 2. We're using jaune. Jaune is one of those adjectives that already has an E at the end of it. So it's kind of special in the feminine forms. Obviously, masculine singular would be jaune, un bureau jaune, a yellow desk. We have multiple yellow desks, des bureaux jaunes, and jaune has an S at the end. For our feminine singular form, we have une table jaune. Because jaune ends in an E in our masculine singular form, you'll see, in the feminine singular form, you don't change anything. So that means that it would be une table jaune, and if we have multiple yellow tables, we have des tables jaunes. So these forms look the same because there's no difference from the masculine and the feminine. All right, now pause and work this out in your notes, okay? I gave you the adjective here. Now, according to the gender and the number of what noun you have, give me the adjective in the correct form, whether it's going to be masculine singular, masculine feminine, or masculine plural, or feminine singular, feminine plural. And voilà la réponse. Okay, you'll see masculine singular, bleu, stayed the same as what you had from the dictionary. Masculine plural, you added an S to the masculine singular. Feminine plural, you added an E to the masculine. Feminine singular, you added an E to the masculine singular. And then feminine plural, you added an S to the feminine singular. Now, we have two groups of irregulars, okay? Irregular adjectives do not follow the rules for gender and number. And there are two different sets. So for group one, they have their own rules, and there are rules for gender and number. Just these rules are different from the ones that we just learned. An example would be un chat individuel. Individuel ends in EL, and that's a set. Any adjective ending in EL, you cannot just add an E to make them feminine. You actually have to double the L and then add an E. And here's a chart of all of those. So if you have an adjective ending in any of these endings, then their feminine rule is right here. So if we have an adjective like blanc that ends in C, for the feminine form, it changes to blanche. You'll see all of the forms right over on that side of the table. The only other weird one is adjectives ending in AL. That change is actually only in the masculine plural. Instead of just adding an S to EDL in the masculine singular, you make it AUX. Go ahead and copy that in your notes. And then we get to the irregulars group 2. These irregulars don't have rules. They are totally and completely irregular, and you just have to memorize them. All of these adjectives come before the noun and have 5 forms. So you'll see in this chart, make sure you copy this down. Here's your adjective in English. Here's the masculine singular. And then they have a special form because they come before the noun. If your noun starts with a vowel, A, E, I, O, U, or starts with an H, this is the form that you use. Okay, so make sure to copy all of this down. And that is the gender and number of adjectives. So, à buffet, what you need to do for homework. Follow those directions. Give me the correct form of your given adjective according to the gender and the number of your noun. Write these in your notes. Show them to me in class tomorrow. Bonjour tout le monde. Today we're learning about the placement of adjectives. So we've already learned about the gender and number of adjectives, knowing that the gender of the adjective must agree with the gender of the noun it's describing, as well as the number. So if our noun is feminine and plural, our adjective needs to be in the feminine and plural form. The other rule regarding adjectives is about their placement. So in English, our adjective always comes before the noun. So if we're talking about a blue car, blue comes before car. In French, it's the opposite. Your adjective will generally come after the noun, with a few exceptions. This does not apply, though, when you're using être to describe a noun. For example, elle est gentille. You would simply say she is nice. Elle est gentille. But your adjective, like I said, is generally going to come after the noun. So if you want to say she is a nice girl, okay, elle est une fille gentille. Okay, so fille, girl, would come before gentille, nice, which was describing the fille. All right, so like I said, most adjectives are coming after the noun they're describing. For example, we have il est un garçon méchant. He is a mean boy. Il est un garçon méchant. Note we're describing the garçon. If we were just saying he is mean, we would simply say il est méchant. We're saying he is a mean boy. Il est un garçon méchant. Elles ont beaucoup de chats gris. Okay, they women, have a lot of gray cats. Elles ont beaucoup de chats gris. Gris is gray. It's our descriptor. And that's coming after chat, which is the word that we're describing, the gray cats. Votre cahier violet est très beau. So we have votre cahier. Your cahier is what we're describing. Violet, it is a purple notebook. So in French, we use violet after cahier. Votre cahier violet. And then you'll see right here, I'm describing using être in this case is very beautiful. So we're putting that after être. Votre cahier violet est très beau. Now, some adjectives will actually come before the noun. They'll become before the noun that they are describing. And these can be remembered with the acronym BANGS, B-A-N-G-S. These adjectives that describe a characteristic in BANGS will come before the noun, and I'll show you what BANGS means. So, for example, we have beauty. That is the B of the acronym BANGS. If we're describing somebody's beautiful, calling them beautiful, pretty, or something like that, then we would use that adjective before the noun that we're describing. So, beau or belle, meaning beautiful. Elle a un beau bébé. She has a beautiful baby. Il est un beau garçon. He is a handsome man, or a boy, or beautiful boy, whichever one you want to use. Then jolie, which means pretty, you will also use that before the noun. So, elle est une jolie fille. She is a pretty girl. J'aime cette jolie école. I like this pretty school. For age, we will also put the adjective before the noun. So we have nouveau or nouvelle. J'aime la nouvelle école. I like the new school. Jeune, meaning young. Elle est une jeune fille. Vieux or vieille, meaning old. Il est un vieux grand-père. He is an old grandfather. Ma vieille amie s'appelle Bette. Okay, my old friend, meaning her age being old, s'appelle Bette. Then ancien, ancienne, meaning previous. Mon ancien prof s'appelle Monsieur Dubois. My previous teacher is named Monsieur Dubois. Okay? And ancien is actually a special adjective because it can be put before or after the noun and it changes meaning. We'll talk about that a little bit later. An exception to the age rule, the word âgé goes after the noun. So if we're saying this is an aged person, elle est une personne âgée. Okay, âgé comes after the noun. Next is N for number. For our ordinal numbers, meaning first, second, third, last, things like that, those will all come before the noun. So using a number to describe quantity will also come before a noun. So if you want to use, say, 1 egg or 3 dogs, that's also going to come before the noun, and that will actually take place of an article. For our examples, we have le bibliothèque est à la première étage. The library is on the first floor. Il mange la dernière pizza. He's eating the last pizza. Il a 3 chats gris. He has 3 gray cats. Then we have goodness or badness. So bon meaning good or bonne in the feminine form. Elle a une bonne note. That will come before the noun. Mauvais or mauvaise in the feminine form. Nous sommes des mauvais étudiants. We are bad students. That will come before the noun students, étudiants. Meilleur meaning better is going to come before our noun as well. Ils sont des meilleurs étudiants. They are better students. And our last part of bangs is S, meaning size. So if we're talking about somebody's height or their weight or something like that, we are talking about size. So we have petit and petite. Elle est une petite femme. Haut or haute, meaning big or loud. Il parle à la haute voix. Gros or grosse. Elle a un gros chien, meaning she has a fat dog. Mince. Il porte un mince jean. He's wearing skinny jeans. Okay, some important exceptions to this rule of bangs is that grand and grande will change meaning depending on its placement. So if grand comes before the noun, it means great. But if it comes after the noun, it means tall or big. So if we have un grand homme, we're talking about a great guy, all right? But if we have un homme grand, we're talking about a tall guy. Ancien and ancienne, as I mentioned earlier, will also change the meaning. If before the noun it means former, so if we're talking about our former prof, teacher, notre ancien prof. After it means ancient, so if we said notre prof ancien, we would be talking about our ancient teacher. And then the next slide has a few more to consider. You'll see right here, we've got a couple of them, ancien, certain, cher, dernier, grand, pauvre, prochain, propre, seul, and simple. You should copy these down in your notes, maybe on a sticky note or something like that, because these are some good exceptions to know. You can communicate meaning a little bit better. For your à buffet, make sure you, in your notebook, you write down these 4 sentences. I want you to take the noun. In my example, I have une fille, that's my noun. And then my adjective is petit. And I want you to write a sentence using that noun and describing that noun with the adjective. So we have elle est une petite fille. She is a little girl or a small girl. Okay, I want you to take all of these, put them into sentences using the adjective I give you to describe the noun I give you. À bientôt!